Good evening, everyone. It's
Good evening.
talking Shayman again. Yep, it's talking Shayman again. Shaymenstats sadly can't join us. He's had to do
Okay,
something.
you.
Pardon? There we go. Working?
Still can't hear you.
A bit of technical issue.
Can I leave and come back again?
Yeah. Right. So we've had a technical issue there. Not a great start. If anyone's in the chat already, what are your thoughts on US so far? I've loved it, to be honest, so far. He'll be joining back in a second, hopefully. I'll just check that there's nothing wrong with my screen. We've made a few. There we go.
I'll pay my bill.
Is that better?
That's brilliant, that, yeah.
Okay, right. Let's start again then. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Talking Shayman. Shaymenstats sadly can't join us tonight because he's had to do something last minute. But firstly, what's your thoughts on the Euros so far?
It's quite exciting, isn't it? I think we've done better than we could probably expect it based on previous games and previous tournaments. So, yeah, it's quite exciting. I think they're postponing Emmerdale Farm on Sunday night now, aren't they? Because of the final. So it's quite good.
I don't want to be disrespectful here, and I doubt it. But do you remember the last World Cup? Were you old enough to remember?
The last World Cup?
No. I mean when we won the World Cup. Sorry,
1966. No, come on, you're having a laugh. I wasn't born until 1968. I'm only 25.
You would have remembered Italian 90 then.
I remember Italian 90, yeah. I remember Spain 1982 and a little bit of Argentina 1978 where Scotland played.
You would have been the same age as me in 1982.
Yeah, so that's as far back as I go. So I've not seen us being this successful ever. Yeah. So it's quite exciting.
It is. So we'll go straight into Halifax now. Now, there's so much to talk about compared to Tuesday now because we've made 2 signings, which we'll get onto in a little bit. Fixtures are now out. We can talk a bit about the Euros. There's loads of stuff that have come out since Tuesday. But firstly, I'll start with what's your thoughts on the fixtures now? I think it's Maidenhead at home, first game of the season.
You know, it's really, really exciting, and I'd love Shaymenstats to be in here because I'd like to know the last time we played at home on Boxing Day. Because we've got Boxing Day at home at Grimsby, haven't we? And that's proper exciting. And I'm always getting into trouble every Christmas because I go away on Boxing Day.
I saw something with you. You had a horn or something one time.
Oh, that was mega fun, man. That was, yeah. Not to do with me, but yeah. I think I might be wrong. The last time we played at home on Boxing Day was FC United when it got postponed. And I think before then it might be Salford City back in about 10, 11 years ago. But, you know, if Shaymenstats was here, I'll be asking them questions and they know the answer. But it's a nice change. And, of course, we got them on New Year's Day as well. So, yeah, it's great. First game at home. Boxing Day at home. Last game of the season, 3 points away at Stockport. It's pretty good, that, isn't it?
I think.
What do you think?
I know we haven't really made any signings yet, but the two signings.
Hang on. What do you think about the fixtures?
I would have we've got the thing that does annoy me a bit is because we are quite a northern side. There's only about 6 or 7 away days that are like realistically like 2-3 hours away that we can actually go to without like having to travel pretty far. But another thing is that we're not actually like until I think it's 28th of October, Solihull away. That's the first game that we can actually go to. Well, I can go to because I'm not exactly going to be travelling down south to the likes of Torquay away and them sort of days every single week. So I think I'm a little disappointed when you've got that because I think it's going to be harder going away at the start of the season. But a lot of players have said that the fans do really help them, which they do at this level compared to Premier League. And I think it really does depend on that start to the season, how we do next season. And I think that could be one little thing that might be an obstacle in our way that we haven't got a big support going down to Torquay. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we have a very strong Shaymen down south, And
Yeah.
every time you travel down south, there's a lot more southern Shaymen than there is northern Shaymen.
Mm-hmm.
And they make quite a good day of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, regardless of where people live, there's always a good, I would say, at least 150 people wherever we go, making plenty of noise. So as far as the team's concerned, I think they get good support up and down the country.
Yeah.
I agree, for northern-based fans, it's a bit more difficult, but I still think we'll take some good followings up and down, and I think we'll make loads of noise, and we'll sneak a few points here and there on our travels.
What's your distance? As in, like, do you go all the way down to Torquay, or are you more someone who just goes to the northern sides?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm hooked, and I go to pretty much every game home and away.
Do you?
And I fill my car up with some people that are equally as mad. So yeah, we make a day of it. We set off nice and early. We stop for breakfast somewhere in the Midlands. I'm always in trouble for getting there about 3 hours before kick-off, because I don't want to ever miss the kick-off if we're going all that distance. We want to do it. I think 2 years ago we almost aborted because we were playing Ebbsfleet away, and we made it with 20 minutes before kick-off, and that was quite scary, because the sat nav said at one point we'll be late. So yeah, if you're going away, you're going to get there early. But yeah, there's always a group of people that go to all the games, so it's good fun. It's a day out. It's not about winning either. It's about having a good day out and cheering the team on and making loads of racket. And you know, if we win, brilliant, and if we don't, well, you know, as long as we give a good account of ourselves, that's good by us.
Only thing is, it's like when you're travelling 5 hours down south, and then you lose 5-0, and then having to come all the way back up on a Saturday night, especially in the summer when it's boiling hot in the car. I don't think it's a very pleasant journey back.
It's not bad, you know, Luke, because you know, we have something to talk about, and you know, if we don't have something to moan about, then what is in life, you know? And you know, you can always remember those games where you got absolutely tanked away from home, like Grimsby and you know, Bromley last year or year before. And that's part of it as well. You know, you can't expect to win every game, and when you do win, it makes it that much more special. You know, it's a tough league we're in, and we do well to compete. And when we win those away games, it's brilliant. But you know, you can never go with the idea of going to win every game. It'd be boring, wouldn't it, if we won them all?
If we won every game, it'd be boring, because then you've got no really to be excited about when
that's right.
We beat Premier League if we won every game. But I think that's more or less it for fixtures now. We've got, I was planning on this on Tuesday as well. The retain list, well, they weren't really a retain list, it was just more or less one day someone will leave and then someone will get contracted up. Firstly, so we go straight on to players that have stayed and players who have gone.
Go on then.
So firstly, someone who did go was Nathan Clark. What is your personal opinion on that? Are you sad? Well, I think every fan's sad to see him go, but do you think it was the right thing for him to leave FC Halifax Town last summer?
I think he was a great ambassador for the club. He was always one of those players that always spoke to people on away trips, and you know, came across and had a word, and he really appreciated what the fans did. He was a great leader. He was you know, certainly very good in defence, and he was representing his hometown club as well. But you know, football's about change, and it happens no matter which player you've got. Nobody's, you know, we'll call them permanent signings, but nobody's ever permanent. And people move on, and that's part of it. But I have nothing but good things to say about him, because he represented the club well. He represented the town well. And he gave 100%, and that's good. You know, what do you think about him?
Well, he always had the best interests in the club. Like, unlike some players that might come on loan, I know this is a bit of a different situation. He was a proper captain, someone that I always heard him on the pitch, on the live streams, you know, shouting, saying, pick it up. And even if he was having a poor game, like, it's pretty hard if you're having a poor game and like making a mistake or two to be confident enough to then go and say to the other players, look, we need to pick it up. And if you think of all these results, like Aldershot away, you've got, let me think now, Wealdstone away, all these games where we 1-0 down. Nathan Clark's made a big difference there, because if he's injured, he's got the impact in the training society training. But then when he's playing, and you're 1-0 down, he's the type of player that can boost players' confidence to come back in the game. But I am sad to see him go, but I do think it was probably his time to go. He did make the club look very professional, and yeah, like I said, I am very sad to see him go. But in my opinion, I do think it's the right thing to do.
And do you remember that goal he scored at Ebbsfleet last season or season before?
Yeah. Did you go to that?
I did. Yeah, that was a bit of a tap in, that wasn't it?
Yeah, not. I think most players would score that. I think Sam Johnson, if he were in the box, I do think he'd probably score that.
Yeah. So he'll always be remembered for that goal, really. And I think his leadership over the last few years, very decent bloke. And time has sometimes where people move on, but that's football.
Another player who has re-signed a contract is Tom Bradbury. What's your thoughts on that?
So I'll be really honest, I don't know an awful lot about him because I didn't see an awful lot last season. And I'm one of those people that like to go to the game and sort of watch people on there. I didn't watch an awful lot last season on there. I'm really looking forward to what he can do this coming year because last season the team competed well and clearly they've got lots of ability and looking forward to seeing him in the flesh and seeing what they can do. But I don't know an awful lot about him, to be honest.
No.
What do you know about him?
He did make a mistake against Wrexham, to be negative, but the first few games of the season, when I properly looking at him because he was a new player, he did look really good. But obviously, making that mistake against Wrexham, he did start getting benched, and that's something that I'm unsure about because I'm not arguing that he was benched, but I haven't really seen too much, like you said. I haven't really seen too much about him, and when it's something to do with training that. So I think if he's not getting in the team, like you said, I can't really say much about him. But one thing I do remember before is that mistake against Wrexham. But he did have a few good games at the start of the season. But I think next season, if we get obviously Nathan Clark's gone now, I don't know if we're bringing in a new centre back or not. We probably will, but hopefully that means he will get a bit more game time.
Yeah.
Now we'll move on to Danny Williams. Now Danny Williams is now somewhere in Brazil or somewhere with his girlfriend, going scuba diving and stuff like that, swimming with sharks and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if he's going back into football or not, but he was the first player to leave. What's your thoughts on that?
Again, he's a player I think gave 100% when he played.
Yeah.
He represented the club well. I know he did lots with the youth up at the college with his badges. And again, I can't argue with what he gave to the club, and he got stuck in on there. And again, it's one of those things where players move on. But no complaints. He gave his best. He did us proud, and it's one of those things. He moves on, and somebody else will come in his place. What do you think about him?
Honestly, I thought his first season with the club, I was expecting a little more because of him. I think it was League One side he came from. Was it? Do you remember who it was? It was League One side he signed from.
Right.
I know he played against Oldham. I think that was the first game he played under Pete Wild. He was brought in by Pete Wild, I think.
Yeah.
He came from Accrington. That's the team. He came from Accrington.
Who were they?
Pardon?
Who were they?
League One side.
Okay.
So he did come from Accrington, but his first season on the wing, I wasn't too impressed by him. I thought he wasn't very physical. I don't think he's not the fastest player. And then I was a bit unsure about him. And then we did sign. Well, I don't think he was under contract, but then this season they've converted him to wing back. And since he's been at wing back, he's been a key player. Puts 110% effort in, and you can tell he's getting it. He got in most weeks last season, so when he wasn't injured or suspended. So Pete Wild does think a lot of him, and I think the whole team does. And you can't fault him for his effort, but obviously now he's gone, and he can do what he likes. He put 110% effort in at Halifax. So if he wants to go scuba diving in Brazil, he can go scuba diving in Brazil.
Fair enough, isn't it?
We'll move on now to Jack Senior, a player that has we signed a contract. Someone that I'm really glad because he's a top guy, a top player, and he's good going forward as well, which is good. So, what's your opinion on Jack Senior re-signing?
So I saw him a few times on telly last year at the Chesterfield game. He works hard. He's from Halifax, isn't he? And you know, it's great that we've got players that are actually from the town because you know, I think it adds a little bit more to it, really.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, he's one of those people as well with his hairstyle. You spot him straight away. You know he is.
Yeah.
That's always good because you know when you're back in the stands and your eyesight's going like mine is, it's good to be able to pick people out at a distance and think, you know. So yeah, he's good. He gets stuck in, and looking forward to seeing him the flesh this year for a season and see how he gets on.
One weakness to his game that I did see was that sometimes he did push a bit too far forwards, which did leave gaps at the back. So I think he needs to improve on that for next season. Be a little bit better defensively with positioning wise, and I think he'll be a top player for the team. And hopefully, fingers crossed, get us in the playoffs. And then I don't really want to say it, but promotion. Now let's move on to the three of them: Kane Spence, Dom Terr, and Jay Ben. What's your thoughts on them three re-signing contracts?
Again, the club did well last year. You know, with our end of season 10th place, it was competitive. They all contributed last year. Again, I didn't see an awful lot of them last year in terms of game to game. But if they've re-signed again, it means they've got something. I trust the manager and his judgment. So, you know, it's going to be good, isn't it? We're going to see them in the flesh this year and see what they can bring. And I'm sure they'll be very competitive. So it's good, yeah.
My thoughts. Pardon?
Have you got a list there?
Yeah, I've got the list here. I can't remember them all off by heart, so I've got it here. Yeah, I'm not that good at memory.
Right,
Matty Brown when you asked about that thing. Matty Brown, when he was on his interview, remembered every single club he played for.
Oh, you see.
So you've got the three youngsters now. I haven't seen too much of them. I think the start of the season it was a bit of Jay Ben, the first start of the three of them to make an appearance. Dom Terr did a bits and bats. I know he played against Wheelstone when we lost 1-0, and I thought he actually did pretty good in that game. And then towards the end of the season, especially when Jackie Ewing got injured, Kane Spence started making a few appearances, and I did like to see a lot of him. Shaymenstats actually say in our last podcast, he did actually say that Kane Spence, he thinks that Kane Spence this season, like coming up, will be like Jack Ewing last season, 2 seasons ago. And he thinks that after this season, next season, he'll be like the Jack Ewing, hopefully that type of player. And I do see a lot in him. I do see a lot of potential. Someone that's not afraid to take players on. But Dom Terr, someone that I think will be good this season. But I think I'd like to see him. I'd probably like to see him at wing back because he did do well there. And Jay Ben, I don't really know much about, so I can't really comment on that. I don't know what to expect. Another player that I am really pleased to announce that stayed is Luke Summerfield. What's your thoughts on that?
Again, he did well, didn't he? You know, he's you see the stats last year, and he's done okay. And I think you know, when we're getting those sort of quality players again this year, we know we're in for an exciting time, and we'll be challenging again. And he brings a lot to the team. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do.
I'm personally like I've said, I'm really glad that he has stayed at the club. Obviously got injured, and that did affect us a little bit, especially losing to Barnet away. I think that was probably because we were used to not having him playing. And then we lost to Maidenhead as well at home, which we shouldn't really lose to. But then we were all right without him against Torquay. But I think Luke Summerfield, when he came back, I think he wasn't the same player, but I think that's to do with fitness. And I think that up until Christmas time, up until he got injured, he could have won Supporters Player of the Year, in my opinion, if it weren't for the injuries, that injury that he had. Obviously, he's a good midfielder, as in like on the ball. He never really loses it. Someone that spreads the play well. You know, if you're stuck on one side of the pitch, he's someone that can get it to the other side. not afraid to have a crack as well. Probably if this league did count assists, he probably would have got quite a few. And obviously he's a good penalty taker as well, which is always useful. Next person is
I'm glad we haven't signed 20, you know.
Pardon?
I'm glad we haven't signed 20 players.
What, sorry?
I'm glad we haven't signed 20 players. Carry on.
Martin Woods next.
Yeah. Again, I don't know a lot about him, other than you know what I've seen and read last year. Really, looking forward to another season. He competed well, didn't he? And you know, it's a reflection of how well we did last year that he's back with us again, and I think he'll you know he'll add something to us this year and make us competitive. And looking forward to it.
I am as well. Someone who wasn't afraid to put a tackle in last season. And I think he's quite good around the camp as well, because obviously he's got that experience. You know, I know on what Halifax did on that interview that Roy did with him. He's played with some ex-Liverpool players. Was it Alonso? It was either Alonso or Xavi. It was one of them two. I think it was Alonso. But anyway, let's move on to Sam Johnson. Now, I think we all expected him to stay. But what's your thoughts on him re-signing?
He's a great player, a great ambassador of the club. I think he gives 100% all the time. He always acknowledges the fans, and you know, he's one of those people that you can never doubt his effort and his commitment to the club. And I think he's you know, he's a great signing. He's a really, really good keeper. And sometimes, you know, he makes those saves that, you know, win us 3 points or stops us losing, you know, or drawing. It's a really, really good good keeper, and I'm delighted we've signed him. And for 2 years as well, isn't it? I think that's great.
Only player. I think he's the only player to sign a 2-year contract so far. Well,
yeah, it's great news.
We'll move on to now someone who has left is Jack Earing and Jack King. We'll go on both of them. Now, both of them last season were 2 key players. Obviously, got in the top 3 Supporters Player of the Year. What are your thoughts on them leaving so far?
I think it's great that Jack Earing's progressed into the Football League. I think he was, you know, he's got talent, his ability, and I think the club have, you know, really set him up for progression and work well with him. And I think it's good that they can move on. Disappointed he's gone, because he was a great player for us and he's got lots of potential. But sometimes when these clubs come calling, you know, they don't have a lot of choice really in terms of progression. I just hope it works out for him and he gets the game time that he wants, because sometimes when people move on, they don't always do that. But you know, certainly he's earned his move. He's a decent player, and wish him all the best. Yeah.
I'm sad to see him go, but I think most people expected it, to be honest, because I think like he was one of the favourites in the league. Everyone in the league knew about Jack Earing. He was like, I think he was seen as our star player. And when you got sides like Walsall coming for him with that link with Jamie Fullerton, you're going to expect that he's going to leave and join there. And I don't blame him, to be honest. It's just we never do get this, but it's just a shame we haven't got anything for him, like any money for him. But apart from that, I'm sad to see him go, but I think it's the best thing for his career. And I'm sure with the new players that have come in, I'm sure they can hopefully just do just as well. Jeff King then. Jeff King, I was a little more disappointed with Jeff King leaving, because he hasn't gone anywhere higher up. He's gone to Chesterfield, obviously local, and he's gone for the money, which you don't really blame him. I think they've got a good plan, Chesterfield. They're trying to get back in the Football League. I was just a little disappointed that he's just gone to a side in the Vanarama National League, and where he could have probably stayed at us. But like I said, I don't really blame Jeff King. What's your thoughts on Jeff King leaving the club?
Well, the last full season I saw him, he wasn't as good as he was in the last season, where it was behind closed doors. So he's improved a lot, and you know, for his point of view, he wants to progress, and he sees that as progression. And you know, as I say, players move on. And if that's what he wants to do, then so be it. But he had a better season last year than the year before. He was always favourite to get a booking, wasn't he?
Yeah. That Shaymenstats let me know. Said that it was something like he hadn't got a booking for 10 consecutive games, something like that. I'm not totally sure. We might need to ask him next time we do a podcast or so. Yeah. But yeah, a little. I'm a little disappointed he's gone, but I'm sure when we bring in some new players, I'm sure that someone can do just as well as him in different areas as well. But anyway, as we move on to Kieran Green now. Kieran Green, someone that I'm really glad that stayed. I thought people underrated him, to be honest, and he got going towards the end of the season. When he started the season, I thought he was a little lost the ball a bit in midfield, but it took him a bit of time to adjust to the Vanarama National League. Right. But when he did adjust, he was quite a key player for us. What's your thoughts on him?
Again, I don't know an awful lot about him, because I didn't see a lot of games last year. And, again, if he's been retained, he's got something about him.
Yeah.
The manager knows what he's doing. So I think there's another player that's going to be competitive for us and take us forward. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think, is that everyone? I think it is, actually. No, there's Ruben Noble-Lazarus, but he never made an appearance. So I don't think we should go talk about him much. We can't really say anything about him. I think there's someone's just said in the chat there's been a new signing. I think they're joking with me because I haven't seen one come up. But saying that, let's get on to the signings. So firstly, yesterday we signed Harvey Gilmore. I don't know much about him. I know I was speaking to a few Tranmere fans on the National League group chat, and they said that he really liked him, but Stockport fans said he only made 3 appearances last season. So what's your opinions on him when he's coming into the club?
So I'll be honest, most of the players that join us I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Because we have a league where, players aren't on telly every 5 minutes and they're not in the newspapers and that sort of stuff. And for the majority of players we sign, bar 1 or 2, I've just not heard of. I might see the names online where people might talk about rumours and come in and that sort of stuff. But I can't recall him anyway. But again, the management team have seen him and they know what he's all about. And we've lost a number of players over the years that I'd never heard of before they came. But my God, when they leave, you know who they are and they progress with us. So hopefully, he'll be a player that shines and makes progress with us. And by the time he leaves, we'll all know who he is, and I'm not one of those people that knows all the detail about all the players that we're signing, but I just genuinely never heard of him. But let's see what he can do.
If last season's recruitment to go anything by, I think I doubt he's going to be a poor player, because this is the difference with Pete Wild. When I think of the likes of Billy Heath, who used to manage us, and then Jamie Fullerton, we'd sometimes bring in players and they'd look at the depth in some areas. I won't mention any of them players, but
come on, mention someone. Come
on. Was it Jonathan No, someone. It was Edwards. He got the number 10 shirt.
Jonathan Edwards.
Yeah, it was Jonathan Edwards up front.
Oh, do you not see the goal against Harrogate on New Year's Day?
Oh yeah, I remember. I was about to say that when he got that last minute equaliser.
Yeah. Come on.
But I don't. He's one of the. They were, you had players like that. That Oliver, was it Oliver? Something Oliver. He came from Gould, and I think he was under. Was he under Fulham or was he under Billy Heath? And a really nice guy, but I just think now when Pete Wiles bringing in players, they're bringing. I don't think there's been, apart from Ruben Noble-Lazarus, I don't think there's been any bad. There were no bad signings last season where you thought, God, why I spent money on him. So I can't really see him being a bad signing. I think it's just a bit unpredictable, and I don't really think I can really say anything bad about him, but I can't say anything brilliant about him because I've never seen him play.
It's always a nice surprise, isn't it, when we sign people? They come on, they give us 100%, and they take us forward. And I think that's a good thing. There's thousands of players that leave clubs in the Football League or available, and picking them is really, really difficult. It takes lots of research. It takes people going to watch games on different nights of the week, lots of travel, and it's a real talent finding these people, and very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But what I think is important is we always get people that add something to the team, and like Jack Earing when he's gone, and other people, they are when they've gone, and they progress, don't they? Mm-hmm. So it's good. Looking forward to it.
Now a second signing, I have actually heard of this player, and my dad actually said when we saw him in the playoff final, we said, "Oh, we should get him signed up." And I think he was more or less joking because he didn't think we'd sign him up, and he's so down south as well. Billy Waters from Torquay. Now, as a joke, he said we need to get him signed up, and he hasn't actually signed up. Now, he's a quality player at Torquay, been at Northampton, been at some big clubs, and I can't really see him being a bad signing. Him and Jake Hyde up front, that'll be deadly next season. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, it sounds good. Torquay did really well last year again, didn't they? So, they were very unfortunate not to get promoted to the Football League. A different referee on the finals day would have perhaps given them 2 goals that they had chalked off. Mm-hmm. So that team have clearly got some ability, and if we're signing people from that sort of caliber, then we're going to be okay. So looking forward to it. Yeah. Again, I'll be really honest, I can't remember seeing him, but I might have to look online and see what he did.
Well, I'll get a few statistics up here. I'll try and get some up. Right, Billy Waters. I'm really excited for him to come in. To be honest, I think when you think of that, bringing in Jake Hyde last season, I was shocked last season when we bought. I was doing something for my football team. I was doing some run or something, and then before I started, I had Jake Hyde come, and I thought, can that be the Jake Hyde? And it is. And if he's not getting injured this season, him and Billy Waters up front, I think it'll be deadly.
That's the power of a good manager, isn't it?
Pardon?
That's the power of a good manager.
Yeah. Someone who can bring in, because there's no way that Jake Hyde came from the money at Halifax. Now, Billy Waters only made 11 starts last season. He made 28 appearances, but he scored 6 goals in that. Now, I think that's pretty decent in 11 starts, 6 goals and 28 appearances. But I think next season, if he's getting in, week out, I think he'll be brilliant up front with Jake Hyde. I think that, and he's quite small as well. I think he is anyway. He's pretty small. He's a pretty small player. So you've got the target man and then someone who can run off the player. He's only 26 as well, so he's not exactly he's not a journeyman. So I think there can only be good things with him. This might come back to bite me, but I do highly doubt he's going to be a bad signing for us in the long run. You've also got Jamie Allen as well, though, who can come in if Billy Waters gets injured or if Billy Waters is not up to it. Now, so we move on to is there anyone you would like to sign? I know this is pretty hard, but is there anyone that you know of who you'd like to sign?
I think anybody from the Championship or maybe League One will probably be okay. But, it's one of those things where it takes a lot of research, as I said, to find those players that are available. And I think one of the things that the manager's always said is he's looking for more youth. And I think if you get people that really want to play and they're committed to it, we're looking for exciting football, people that put a lot of effort in and run around, and that's great. And I think as long as we turn up on match day and we see people going for it, then that's great for me. That's what I want to go and see and cheer them on, and so nobody in particular is the honest answer, because I don't know a lot of people or a lot of players at other clubs.
No, similar to me, to be honest. I know the odd player at other clubs, but at National League level, you're more focused on your club, and then you bring in a player. I don't really comment on it because you don't really know much about them, and you don't really know what to expect. Like, look at Niall Bell. Niall Bell did nothing at Stockport. Then he came to us. I really liked him. I was hoping he was going to stay next season. But then you've got Goldo Tamara, came to us. I thought he was out of his depth at the start of the season. I thought it was just a last season signing. Then he goes to Wrexham, and Wrexham fans really wanted him to stay. So it's different. Players adjust to different clubs at this level. And I think next season, as long as Pete Wild gets the right players in, I'm sure that he worked best under him. I'm sure Halifax can have a very, very successful campaign. Now, finally, I know we can't really comment because we haven't seen everyone who's other clubs are signing and then who our club are signing. So far, and we'll do this so far, what do you expect for next season?
I expect us to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think top half of the table will be great.
Yeah.
And I think if we can, challenge for a place in those playoffs, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
There's some serious clubs in our league. You end up looking down the fixture list and, teams like Grimsby and
Southend,
Notts County, and there's all sorts of, Chesterfield as well. There's some massive clubs there. And, look at what Wrexham are doing.
Yeah, Wrexham.
If you sat down and thought about it, you'd think, my God, we've got no chance. But I'm certain we'll be pushing the top half of the table. Yeah. I'm certain we'll get in those playoffs at different points of the season. Mm-hmm. And I think as long as we're competitive and long as we can see that we're going for it, that's good. And if you lose and you're giving 100%, that's equally okay. You don't mind coming away from a game if the players have done it and you have a good shout and cheer on, and because there's a lot of quality in some of the other clubs with the money they're putting around. So top half of the table would be great. Playoffs would be brilliant. But we've got to be realistic. We're up against some big clubs. What do you think?
I'll go on to that in a second, but firstly I'll just say a lot of my mates are Huddersfield fans. I know it's an absolute disgrace. Probably one or two of them are watching this right now. I'll be watching it later. You say, Huddersfield fans, that the Championship is the hardest league to get out of. Now, you see sides like Newcastle who come down to the Championship, they get straight back up. We've had the likes of Notts County, one of the oldest football clubs in history, come down. They cannot get back up. They haven't been able to get back up they've been down here for 2 seasons and got to play a final once. We've got the likes of Chesterfield who've come down, who've got back-to-back relegations. I think this is their 4th season down here. It might even be 5th. I don't know. You've also got the likes of Wrexham, one of the best clubs in Wales, and they're down here. And you've got Southend, who've had back-to-back relegations, and I don't think they're going to win the league. Only 2 teams go up. One of them wins the league, and the other one has to go through playoffs, which is you have to win 4 matches if you come 7th. And if you come 3rd or 4th or 2nd or 5th, 2nd and 3rd, it's the same as the Championship. It's so hard to get out of. Now, for next season, I'll go on to this now. For next season, I think it depends on recruitment, and I fully trust Pete Wild. I think him and Bosomworth do brilliant to say the budget that they have, and Millington as well. And I do feel very confident going into next season. I can't really comment on it so far because we haven't made too many signings. But I think as long as we're competitive and we try our best, I do think that we are going to probably make the playoffs. And if we do make the playoffs, you never know. Anyone can win in the playoffs.
Exciting times, isn't it, Luke?
Exciting times, especially how the club's grown in the last couple of seasons. That's more or less it from us. There'll be more Shaymen like podcast talking. Shaymen we'll have episode 3, hopefully with Shaymenstats and maybe 1 or 2 of us from the Supporters Club in the future. I'll let you know with all the new signings. The club will as well. Remember to follow the Supporters Club on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And that's more or less it. Well, thanks for coming on, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for having us, Luke. Bye for now.
See you.